The champ is here.
We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with we. I am EJ, and I got my man.
Mate.
Yes, sir. He's a DB of the show, handling that press coverage. We are Black in Sports. We're giving a voice to the people that won't shut up and dribble, all right? So we're here to interview the best professionals in the game and in the boardroom, covering it all, laughing at it all, while giving a platform to be heard, okay? So what we're going to do, what we usually do about this time is welcome our guests. We got a special one for you here, all right? She is born and raised in Las Vegas, okay? She is hardly home, balling all over the world, okay? And she's always repping. She puts on for her city, on for her city. Hey, on for her city, on for her city. Listen, she rolls with a select crew, and you're going to see what we're talking about in a little bit with that. We got pro basketball player Sequoia Holmes in the building. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up.
All right, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, how we like to start the show, all right? You got to give us a shoot your shot moment, all right? A time that you went for it all. It could have been any time in life when you were young, you know, was asking mom and dad for them, you know, them Legos or something like that. And they told you no, but just a shoot your shot moment in your career, anytime.
Shoot my shot moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you just went
I'm
for
gonna
it.
I'm not gonna say when, but you know, I asked for like one time I was playing consecutive seasons in one country.
Okay.
And I asked for like a 50% raise.
There you go.
And they were like, hell no. And I was like, all right, it was worth the shot.
You damn right.
Sure.
You damn
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I had a good season.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, let me go ahead and see. I need to do
I need to
this.
increase that
Let me get that
bag.
negotiation.
They're like, are you coming back? And I was like, yeah, if y'all give me like a 50% raise.
There you go.
And I just was like stone cold face with them.
It
They
was
was like, nah,
crickets
we
with it,
got
huh?
you like 20%.
Negotiation there.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, start
Negotiation.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Negotiation.
Meet me in the middle, you know.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a great moment.
So what started your love for sports? Where'd that start?
Wow. I think just as a kid, I was always active. Like I
Mhm.
never really sat down at any time. But you know, my older sister, she played sports
Mhm.
when I was young. We're 9 years apart,
Mm.
9 years apart. So I mean, she was a 3-sport athlete in high school.
Oh, okay.
So she ran track, played volleyball, and basketball. Basketball was her least. She wasn't as good out of the three.
Track.
So she was best, I would say, at track, but she loved volleyball.
Volleyball.
more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you played those three too,
Yeah,
right?
you did a
Yep.
similar role, right?
Yep. Yeah, I
Mhm.
played all three, or ran and participated in all three. But yeah, that kind of got me going, just sports wise. But when I was, in second, third grade, I kind of was like, I want to do this basketball thing, and I was on a elementary team
Mhm.
of all boys, just trying out, and then it just kind of grew. My love and passion just kind of grew from there.
That's what's up.
So we gotta ask, right? Though, if you ask track, what was the races?
Yeah.
Man, I did some of everything. I sprinted, I jumped, relays, but high jump, long jump,
Okay.
mostly 100, 200. Those are my
I saw that you had the state record for the long jump.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
still there? You
I
still?
think so. Yeah, still
Mhm.
have
What was that? 19
5 and a quarter.
Oh, that girl good.
Yeah.
hamstrings is strong.
So let's get an update on you, man. Are you practicing for your challenge that you got coming up in a couple months?
COVID-19. So
Yeah,
I'm not exactly practicing that
Okay.
way.
So we ain't forgot about that, man.
No,
So
that's true.
He challenged one of our guests to a race. So I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
you got any other challenges? Or you gonna
No, I'm gonna.
Keep-
I saw some highlights. So saw some highlights. So I ain't gonna challenge. I know where my limits are.
there you go.
What did your parents play sports?
yeah. My mom, she played basketball. I mean, we were just actually talking about this the other day,
Okay.
like how good of an athlete my uncle was kind of saying how good of an athlete she was. Our basketball player, just a basketball player, and she
Okay.
played softball too. But I'm like, you know what? Show me the archives. Like, I don't believe
I
that.
need to see that.
And then
Want to see the footage.
and then she, automatically got pissed. Like, where do you think you got it from?
Right.
Like, and my uncle was like, she don't believe you, and they just kind of jumped on me. I'm like, y'all need to show me the proof. I do it really just to mess with her,
Yeah.
but I know
Absolutely.
she could probably hoop. I mean, I think sometimes it's kind of
Wha-
genetic. But
wha-
my dad, yeah, he
He-
played football and baseball.
Yeah, I saw the names Juanita and Samson. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know any.
Samson.
When I think of Samson, I'm thinking like
Samson.
230, 6'6",
Yeah,
dunking, football. What position he play in football?
I think DN.
Yep, see? Yeah.
100%.
Ain't no receiver, Samson.
It strengthens his hair, man.
Yeah,
played
for sure.
played a lot, but he's actually not that big of a guy.
Oh, okay.
He's tall, but fast. I mean, is that defensive end or back? Like like
Yeah,
he's
I
a
mean,
defender,
they're
like,
tall.
do a lot of stuff,
Yeah, I mean,
but
like
not
I said, when you
necessarily
Samson,
big.
he could probably play
Play
tailback,
whatever.
quarterback if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, nobody's
Anybody gonna tell him anything
Yeah.
different.
Right.
So what was it like kind of coming up here as far as sporting? I think times are different when you were coming up to what we're seeing now from sports.
Right.
So how was
Sure.
it kind of coming up in sports, and who were some of your favorite teams?
Wow. Here, we always had the Rebels, running
Okay.
Rebels to look at, during the '90s, obviously, and then even into the early 2000s.
They were the
and-
pro team here.
Yeah, basically.
Mhm.
Basically. So, just a fan of them. They were our pro team, but conversely now, we have the Aces and the Golden Knights and the Raiders coming soon. So I'm a default fan of whatever team is the Las
Whatever.
Vegas whomever
Yes,
the Lights, the soccer team or whatever. It's
Right.
like
Yeah.
that's
I've
my
always
team.
wanted to have a team to say call my I'm a fanatic of. I mean, I
100%.
kind of never really had a team, even pro football team, basketball team. I was like, well, I'm not really from there, so how can I be a diehard fan? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not gonna argue with people about it. It's just like
It's not
they'll
that
be like, "You're
serious,
not even
right?
from there," and I'll be like, "You're right."
Yeah.
What can I say?
Like,
But,
shut
But
it,
you know,
right.
my favorite player was Kobe,
I saw
and
that.
so I
Yeah.
had a lot
Yeah, I
of
saw
favorite
that
players.
too.
So whatever team he was on, which was the Lakers, I probably would have been going for,
Like,
Really
no matter what.
nice.
Yeah. And in the '90s, I watched the Bulls.
Okay.
When I was
Got to.
little though, I was small. So.
Right.
got to.
So Kobe or Jordan?
I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with MJ.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with
See,
MJ.
Hey.
I mean,
That's valid.
That is.
All right.
How do you? I mean, you can share as much as you want to, but I know Kobe was your favorite player, so obviously
Yeah.
he passed away. How did that affect you, or was you?
And then before you get in that, why was he your favorite player?
Yeah. Okay.
Both. Yeah.
Well, it affected me tremendously. I
Mhm.
mean, I was in, it was like a day before one of our games,
Oh wow. Okay.
and I just kept one of my teammates. I hadn't even known them very much,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of people can tell, like, just from my demeanor and style of game. Obviously, I talked about him when I was like a lot younger about what his influence was, but they were a lot younger and they could tell we weren't even around each other. And they said, shoot, you were the first person we called to see like if you were all right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, y'all really don't even know me, but they can tell
Dang.
in my, just demeanor on the court and
Mhm.
things like that was my favorite player. And I mean, I was kind of shocked that it was like a moment of just I really don't know
Yeah.
like how my game is gonna go,
Mm.
because it's like you thinking about not taking things for granted. You're
Mhm.
thinking about playing it out all for that person who's inspired you
Right.
almost all your basketball career, giving everything you got. You're thinking about having an 81-point game.
Yeah.
You're thinking about a lot of things, and you just don't really know how it's going to play out, and you kind of just trying to hold in and focus. But I think for me, during that game, I just tried to give it all.
Mhm.
I wasn't really worried about my stat sheet. I wasn't worried about anything, but just playing my heart out because that's what he did,
Right.
every night. And even though, there was times where I always thought like, yeah, I'm giving 100%, but on that day it was an extra
It's an
focus.
extra effort. Yeah. Extra.
Yeah,
mile.
just to like do
Do
be
all
out
you
there,
could.
just drenched in sweat, everything you
I
can.
feel it.
you can
And
give.
people don't understand how, and I mean how much he touches you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people like, oh, that was my cousin that died. Like everybody felt that they were related to him. It was such a
Mhm.
connection when he passed.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think just because those values that you watched, you can apply to everything.
Everything.
The mama mentality, the
Mhm.
business, life in general,
Right.
how you bring up your kids.
Right.
Like you may have somebody may have learned like, wow, I never had that as an athlete,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna steal that into my
And make sure I have it.
seed to make sure
Right.
like, they see and, can relate to that via be a sport, but that it applied to all their lives. I think, lots of probably Fortune 500 companies and billionaires have that same blueprint,
For sure.
with obviously different terminology, but
Right.
I mean, I would say like Wolf of Wall Street, that movie, I could see Kobe playing that role, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like at some points, like, and not,
Yeah. That's funny.
so,
What did you pattern your game after him then, or kind of?
Or was it more your attitude?
Yeah, more.
I think it's more my attitude, but I do, shoot a lot of fadeaways. I do shoot a lot of
There you go.
fadeaways, and there was a time in some games, and I'm ashamed to say this, but not
Go
really,
ahead.
that I felt like I was on some teams where I'm like, okay, me shooting against this double team is
Better
better than me
than-
passing to
rotate.
you. And
What's the movie? It was just like, oh, they just said, was it Love and Basketball? Like, what did he say? Just pass you the ball.
yeah, like, okay, like, I don't really know what you're gonna do with it, so I'm gonna just shoot it, and I probably got a better percentage, but yeah, I watched
Nice.
him, and it's almost like you would go out and you would practice signature moves,
Yeah.
but the more you just watch the game in general, like his
Mhm.
games in general,
Right.
like you just start to do the stuff, like the
Right.
pivoting.
Yeah.
I'd be playing like ones with my homeboys, and I'm out there like we're only playing 2-3 dribbles, and it's like, well,
Mhm.
all I can do is pivot
Yeah,
at
the
this
footwork,
point.
yeah,
So let me
yeah.
figure it out, or whatever. So yeah, I would say yeah.
Yeah. You I'm going way off here, but you said, sometimes it was better for you, some teams, to shoot in the pass out of double team. So I always wanted to know this, right? For a person that plays the wing, you play wing position,
Yeah.
you catch the ball on the wing, there might be, somebody in the post or something, and you might, somebody in the corner, you say, hey, watch out, go through, I'm going to
Yeah.
go. Like, I seen dudes do that, like, pick up,
Yeah.
but not in a legit game. Like, I was a dude that, I was in the corner, Miles,
so
go
go ahead
through.
and run.
Run
Take it
through, let me
through.
take this. How does it feel to be in that kind of zone where you like, all right, I'm going to, you get
Send
out of
them.
here,
Wave
clear this
people
out the
through.
way, and let me go to work.
I mean, it's just kind of like a known thing at
Mhm.
times when you just got it going,
Yeah.
and people are looking at you like, well, depending on your personality, it ain't coming. She ain't letting it go anyway, so they're probably not even in the way.
Like, they already know.
Yeah,
Like,
let me just go
here,
let me go
Yeah,
get to this glass.
Let me go rebound or
Box out.
relocate. I'm just about to cut.
Yeah.
Like maybe
Spread the floor.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah, I always wonder what that zone was like in the actual game, because I'm trying to do it in
funny.
pickup all the time, but
Oh, that's
the
too
result's
funny.
not the same. So in the actual game, that's
So always repping. So from high school, you went to UNLV.
Yeah.
Continued your career there. Why the choice of UNLV? How did that come about?
UNLV. Wow, I'm gonna say I didn't want to stay home and play basketball
Okay.
at all.
All
I
right.
was like, from the time that it was like, okay, you can get a scholarship doing this. So I
Mhm.
say about 8th grade, I'm like, yo, I'm leaving Las Vegas and I'm going to play somewhere else.
Mhm.
Out.
I'm out.
Right.
My dream school was LSU.
Okay.
I have family in Louisiana, so
Oh, okay.
I
That was smart.
always wanted to
Tigers.
go go over there, go down there, and be a Tiger. But senior year, sophomore year, I had some early interest from U of A.
Okay.
And I went to a team camp down there, and I was pretty good. And Bonaventure, I think, was the coach at the time. She was like, we want to like get a verbal from you. I was only a sophomore, my sophomore summer going into junior year, and I was like, oh, it's like too early. Like
Mhm.
I'm not gonna just make that kind of commitment right away. But definitely interested in
on
the
the
pack
map.
on the
Okay.
pack in the pack that were Pac-10 back then.
Yep.
And but I came home and I had one unofficial visit with UNLV. Coach Miller was the coach at the time, and I really just fell in love with the staff. Like,
Oh, okay.
That's
we
big time.
came on, I drove myself, we were there, my parents were there, and we walked around campus, we talked with the coaches and assistant coaches, and you know Coach Miller basically told me, like, you're not gonna play, like, not like we want you, got an
Right.
opportunity, but you gotta have to work for it.
Gotta
And
earn that spot.
I had 2 McDonald's
Dang.
All-Americans on that team.
Okay.
They were ranked 22 in the nation by Street and Smith that year. So they were supposed to be like, I wasn't supposed to sniff the court, and I was like, there's no way that's not happening. Like, I'm gonna play. Like, I'm coming and I'm gonna play. Like,
Yeah.
but that was just my personality, but
There's
she
a
really
mamba right
challenged
there.
me. She challenged me from the day I stepped on campus.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I was like, I feel like the staff is really gonna push me to the next level, and they were supposed to do pretty well. Obviously, things didn't go as planned,
Yeah.
but you know,
Right.
it was yeah, it was I felt like a good fit at the time, and then it was like, what better way to represent home,
Yeah.
being from home, and then my outlook on the whole recruiting process kind of changed. I was like,
How so?
we need to
Yeah.
get more athletes or more kids. And I was quoted in the Review Journal saying that we have more than just scrubs here in Vegas. So everybody,
It's true.
you
though.
know, stop overlooking us. Even, you know, the staff there.
The staff here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, funny thing is after that, coach brought me in, or she called me like, did you say, you know, this? I was like, yeah, I said that. But, you know, I meant like, we have pretty good players. So let's all, you know, let's keep us home
Stay home.
and,
Yeah.
and represent our city or whatever. And she was like, oh, okay, well, and I got a good media lesson right there about being
Getting early.
Absolutely.
getting early, fresh out, like senior, 17 years old. And I was like, oh, okay, I see how they can
Twist
Gotta
those
twist some
words.
stuff up.
Yes,
yeah.
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? But I meant that though. I
Hey,
meant
you're not
it,
lying
so.
either.
No, and it's
Yeah,
a fact that
you're
needs to
100%.
happen.
I
Yeah.
meant that.
That's dope.
So how do they fix that then? Because like you're not the only. We also watch the what was it? The Miami. They were talking about Miami and how the coach what started that program,
Mhm.
and they triangled off and they called like from from Miami all the way up, all the way over to Tampa. Like they said, if there's a kid from Florida, he's not leaving Florida to go somewhere else.
Mhm.
Right.
And like, why don't we do that, or what do we need to do that?
Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to Lindy LaRock being from
Mhm.
here. I think
Yeah.
that was a great start.
No,
Mhm.
You
that's
know, her being from here and played high school basketball here. Obviously, going away to play at Stanford, but that's one of the steps.
Right.
You know, if you have the leadership, that's one of the ways
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
can start
start
doing that.
locking
And
people down.
I mean,
locking
Banks
people
said the
down.
same thing.
Banks said the same thing.
So congratulations to her. So that's like big ups, and I'm happy for that. But you know what? Just showing up. I know that there's a few kids that have been heavily touted by whatever staff is,
Mhm.
but usually those kids are 4-star, 5 stars. They got you know scholarships to go out of state. But I'm saying giving those kids whose rating isn't as high, but they got some upside or potential, to and they hungry
Yeah.
opportunities to go there, even if it's just sometimes you give them a look just to say you're giving them a look.
Right.
I mean, they may be second, third, but you're showing up to games and
Mhm.
they're seeing your face.
And they're
They
bringing
know.
people, right?
Yeah.
And they know.
Staying home.
Stay home.
So moving into the professional ranks. First of all, 11 years pro before we get too far.
12.
My bad. 12.
12.
I
I
forgot-
need that year.
He forgot to carry the one. That's
No,
all.
no.
I wasn't good at math.
All right, all right.
But
I mean, but after 10, it's kind of like.
but
anyway.
still,
No,
I mean,
you got to count
What's
you count every last one of
what's
them.
an average pro career, like 3-4 years? So getting into
Yeah,
it,
like
did
5.
you imagine
No,
12 years?
no, not at all.
All right, I'm gonna jump in. I want you to start from the 2008.
From 2008.
Yes, from your draft, like how that went, because I can only imagine. Because there's a
Wow.
lot of dynamics that was happening. She said, "Yeah, that
Okay. Well, I'm gonna start even a little further back.
Okay.
So
Take
I
us
didn't
there.
really start to become a player, I would say, until my junior year in college, because we had, you just
Those-
gotta wait your turn.
right,
And I started
right.
for a lot of my career since I was a freshman, but
Yeah, you had some
I-
games booked.
yeah. So then I started to turn it on as a junior, 28-point games, 26, like, so it was like I started to get some attention. We were playing against teams like Purdue, and some of our tournaments they would come and they had players that, they were being, scouted by WNBA scouts. And so when they came to the West Coast or wherever they were, we had Penny we had Penny from the Sparks, we had Brian from, Seattle coming
Mhm.
and watching them, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like I'm about to
For sure.
get
I'm
off.
about to show
I'm
off.
about to show off.
Yes,
I gotta
yes.
do something,
You
But
gonna
it
see
wasn't
them,
a-
but you gonna see me.
Yeah, you came to watch them, but you're
You
gonna see me. And so that's kind of what started. I was like, oh well, I can really do something. If I play well,
Uh-huh.
the opportunity is endless. But I kind of went into the draft thinking that Houston would draft me. They were talking about it. I talked with my agent at the time, and he was like, you're probably not gonna go first round, but second, late second, probably third is, where
Where
you
you at?
probably be.
Mm-hmm.
And after having a good senior, senior campaign, I mean, at one point I was ranked like third in the nation in scoring, for a little bit, and then, you
Couple
know,
titles, some WAC titles, and
so I get to that point, and I'm like, okay, well, I can play pro. I know I could probably go overseas. I don't know
right.
if the WNBA thing is gonna happen, but I can make some money doing what I've grown to
Sure.
truly love and find a passion for. Um, so I watched the draft from home with my dad. My mom had to work, so
Mm.
I watched it. I sat on the couch and just watched it, and round after round, and my name wasn't called.
Right.
And expecting that to get called, but knowing that things don't ever work out the way you expect them.
They do
I
not.
was I immediately received a phone call after the draft
Uh-huh.
and from the GM and um head coach at the time.
Of Houston.
Yeah.
Yep.
Carlene Thompson, and she was like, you know what, we didn't draft you, but we still want you to come to training camp. And I'm like, I don't care if I ever get my name, see my name
Right.
on
Called.
TV. Like,
Right.
it never has been, so it's not like I'm taking a step backwards or anything like that. I'm like, cool. I felt like I took it as this is my draft moment,
Uh-huh.
getting that call and preparing myself to go in as a free agent and make some noise. So starting there in Houston, it just went on from there. After Houston,
Hold
they ended
on.
up
But
actually.
Houston though, right? Like they were
Wow,
they were
yeah.
they were a dynasty, right?
Yeah, I
Like you're
was
like, yo, I'm coming into I'm about to do some things.
sure, for sure. I mean, I don't know how many times I could tell you I was, starstruck playing with those vets that I had on the
Absolutely.
team. Like,
Yeah.
obviously Tina Thompson.
Tina Thompson. Yes.
Yeah, TT. That's my, that's my vet.
That's what's
She would
up.
call me. I was her rookie. She was my vet,
Oh,
and
that's
that
dope.
we still are really good friends.
That's good.
Even now, and I mean, but even Michelle Snow and all Mwadi Mabika was on the team.
Y'all was supposed to do some
Magaba.
things.
Yeah, we did all right. We was a little bit older, but Shannon Johnson, Shannon Pee Wee Johnson, like it was a good team and a good time to be a rookie.
Right.
You learned under good vets.
Mhm.
They taught you what you needed to know.
Solid structure with
Yeah.
the team.
So that was just a good experience. There were times where all I did was practice for 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight. Never saw the court, never dressed out.
Uh-huh.
But then there was games where I would play,
Right, yep.
extended minutes, 18, like 20 minutes as a rookie. That's good. And I just soaked it all up.
That's dope.
And it was a great time. But
And then
I would walk in sometimes like we played in Reliant at the time, and it's like,
That's right.
I would be rebounding for Tina, and it's like, wow, like this is real.
It's
like
real life.
I'm playing for probably one of the best players to ever play.
Yeah.
Ever play. Champion, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow,
Yeah. Like a
surreal.
picture.
Yeah.
And then that 2010 Mercury team, Donna Taurasi and
Yeah, Diana, getting to play with Diana, Tangela, Penny as well on that
That's great.
team.
Dewana Bonner, she got
DB, Dewana, Candace Dupree,
Candace Dupree.
Tamika Johnson.
Yeah.
Rocking
Like,
with the best, right?
Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to the semifinals that year. They won the year before I got there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
What was those practices like?
man, with Corey, it was always short, but it was always intense.
Yeah.
It was intense, and I really learned to, find myself that year because it wasn't a lot of time for me on that roster. Honestly, like I made the team as a free agent again,
Okay.
but I wasn't, there wasn't minutes for me really, and I had to figure out how to make the practices my games. Shoot around was my game.
Yeah.
And stay focused for what's to come, and
Whenever
really
your
earn
opportunity would come,
opportunity.
you be ready, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that mental. I don't know if it's a battle, but just kind of that mental strength of not kind of knowing when your minutes are going to be night to night, but
Yeah.
staying ready and stay prepared for that.
it's a tough pill to swallow sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you're coming from being a go-to overseas.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
Every night you're getting, as many shots as you want.
Right.
Clear
You know,
out, man.
play
Clear
as
out.
many
Hey,
minutes
hey, go.
as many minutes
Run
as you
through.
want, and then going back to having to accept a role, and almost sometimes be a practice player. Like, I'm just here to
Mhm.
make sure that y'all got game legs,
Mhm.
Mhm.
or playing an up tempo. But I think it's all a part of being a good teammate. You have
Yeah.
to at times put things into perspective, and a lot of it is about timing. You can't get in your own head about it.
Mhm.
You can't get down on yourself and say like it's something that I'm not doing, because literally it's not something that it's nothing you can probably do to get
Right.
in rotation.
Right.
Like, you just play the best you can, and sometimes it just is what it is,
Yeah.
and you have to swallow that and chuck it up and let that make you better.
Mhm.
I really really took that time to work on my practice habits, because they weren't good. I am not a practice player. Even still to this day,
Practice.
I'm ready to go when the lights come on.
Talk about a game here.
Yeah,
When
I
it's
can't.
time.
I just don't do well in practice. Like,
Mhm.
I
I
feel
don't
it.
focus the same way, and it's just like
It's practice.
it's yeah. But that's the time that you get better. You get
Yeah.
better in that time, so you want to take advantage of it. Each time, but it's like something about when the lights come on. I'm like,
Game
there's
time.
something happening that nobody expected me to do, because they're like, you've had the shittiest practices. And it's just about consistency. But that's something that is totally not good. So, like, coaches, if you listen to kids, like,
There you go.
you guys practice good practice habits.
There you go. Don't do what I did, kids.
Yeah.
Be better than me. You
Good
could be a
practice habits, because that's where the coach sees you most,
Right.
or the GM or whoever it is. Like, they see you the most in practice. I mean, the game's only like twice a week or
Right.
whatever,
That's
so and you may not get very many minutes.
Yeah.
So you can't be like, well, I'm gonna wait on the game, 'cause that
I'ma
might
show
never
out.
happen.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta.
And I
go
mean,
into
recruiting
practice.
process, right? That's how they practice and coach. What's the attitude? It's like all those
Yeah.
ancillary things that happen, not just the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Somebody's
Most
always kind
definitely.
of watching.
Always watch it. Hey,
Yeah.
when we play, right? Eye in the sky.
Yeah.
Don't
Somebody's
lie.
always watching.
Don't be loafing. I see you loafing back there.
I know you probably get this question a lot, but two things. Kind of like, what's the difference between playing overseas,
Yeah.
kind of playing the WNBA, just the styles of game, and then you don't really get an off season.
Right.
Maybe about a month off, maybe,
Yeah.
and you get right into it. So taking care of your body, you've been healthy for a long time. So talk about that.
I'll start with the latter.
Okay.
And the 12 years, like what we were talking about before, when I got a taste of playing, and it was such an inconsistent time in my career in the beginning,
Mhm.
where I was playing and I wasn't playing sometimes overseas, I was like telling myself I had to stay ready, and what's going to cause me to get injured or something is if I'm not physically
Not having my body
prepared.
right.
Like,
Right.
if I
Yeah.
go out and try to play a game and all I've been doing is playing pickup, like, for an hour every day, I'm not gonna be ready, because
Right.
it's just a different speed, it's a different physicality to the game. So I need to be on that level. So I really thought about what things I needed to do to put myself in physical shape enough to go right in, and if I get a call, to be able to play.
I'm ready.
To be ready, game ready. It's very, very. It's not possible, but you can
Mhm.
get as close as
Yeah.
you can to game
Right.
shape. So that was one of the things. I also, later in my career, started to supplement. Because what we get in our food is just not enough.
So you vegan?
No,
Oh,
I'm not vegan.
I
I
thought-
said
What do you do?
supplement.
Yeah,
You
I
said
went supplement, and I went
You went
wait.
straight. You went from
Straight
0 to
vegan.
100. Like,
No,
oh,
no,
like,
no, no, no.
I
No,
just
not
had some
vegan.
ribs.
You about to be mad?
Yeah.
You
Okay,
don't
my
like-
bad.
You don't
My
like.
fault.
You don't mess
Yeah.
with that poke.
My bad. I didn't mean to get. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I started to supplement, and I think that's kind of helped with the longevity of my career, but also doing some physical things that aren't always basketball.
Mhm.
Lots of stretching, yoga,
The recovery
gotta
stuff too,
recovery
right?
stuff.
Yeah. that's
Foam
big.
roller is my best friend. Never go anywhere without it.
Okay.
Or my elastic
The bands.
bands,
Mhm.
and a lot of
Yeah.
band work, a lot of small muscle group exercises. So we just keeping that there going, and then the other part of your question, like, the league is the league. It's
Mhm.
like the best place to play outside of being an Olympic athlete, which is like 12 people who are the best players
That's
on the
right.
planet. Um, it's prestige. That's where
Right.
you play. You know, I've had Coach Vicky Johnson said, you know, the WNBA is where you play for prestige.
Mm-hmm.
Overseas is where you go to make your money, but you come here to prove that you can play at the highest level in basketball.
The comp, yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the competition. And me
Yeah.
being a competition junkie, I didn't care. Like
Mhm.
I'm like, I have to be there. I have to
Mhm.
touch. I kept scratching the surface and kept scratching and kept scratching. I was being the last cut in Chicago, last cut in Atlanta, you know, and then finally getting to San Antonio and it being like, you belong to be here. Like you deserve this. You work
Nice.
for it. Like
Right.
it was just like, and then getting minutes and being able to produce. And it was just
Yeah.
like, this is just what I knew was for me when I was a rookie in Houston, when I
good
got
time.
to play and I would do good things at times. So the style of play, you know, they get physical overseas though. I mean,
Just
What
just
the-
rules of
Hold on,
difference,
they
or
putting
Not
bodies
rules.
out
they
there.
gotta slow you down
They
some other way?
just,
They-
they just,
the 90s, the Pistons.
I just would say for us, like as a foreigner or an American, they expect you to be able to do certain things.
Mm.
So they kind of become a little bit biased and a spectator at
Really?
times. You know, they'll be like, "Well, you're athletic," so they won't call foul, and I was like, "That
Ah.
has nothing to do with it." Like, you know, or
Hack-a-Shack
just a
over there.
little some bias, but
That makes sense.
it you know, they set hard screens, like they're trying to nail you for real.
Really.
And where, you know, as in the league, like it gets really physical during playoff time, obviously, but the refs know it's just the same. You're on the same page
Mhm.
Mhm.
mentally, like, you know, the style of game, like they know like certain things you can do if you know, armbar and it's not like overtly excessive.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, then they just kind of let it go. But
Yeah.
sometimes they get real touchy, you know,
Jeez.
That's crazy.
or they'll let, you know, wherever you're playing, like they'll let the national players like hold and grab you, and then as soon as you do it, they're like foul. And I'm like, well,
like,
she
got the
just,
quick whistle on you.
You got an advantage, so they let
Yeah,
them
yeah.
get away with a little more.
yeah.
That's interesting.
So you were with the Stars, all right? And then hopefully our people know here that the Stars became the Aces.
Right.
So what was that feeling, man? I know that's another one of those things where you said things don't go always how you plan it to be.
Right. It was we relocated. San Antonio relocated to Vegas, and just being a part of what was initially going to be, or just the beginning phases, was amazing.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
like it was like
Coming home.
coming home, and,
Yeah.
and being able to say like I played high school, college, and pro for my city.
Repping
Yeah.
your city.
Was just amazing. I wish it would have turned out differently, but just being able to be an ambassador in that sense, and I still, you know, I'm like, you know, this is something I didn't have when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
not super salty. You know, I'm like, you know,
Not you a
AAU
tablespoon,
teams,
you may be a
yeah.
teaspoon of salt, right?
yeah, high school players, you guys go out and watch this team that
Okay.
is right here to show you, you know, what you can accomplish. You know, because I never had that.
Yeah, you can see it.
Growing up,
Yeah.
I just like this is real. So be a part of that. Be a part of growing that. You know, and just to have, you know, any bit of time
Right.
with that team, and just show like I really like how proud I am of where I come from and
That's
who
dope.
I am. It was amazing.
So it was cool to come home, but you saw the business side of things.
Yeah.
It's a game.
Politics.
It's politics, sports, politics, and business, right?
Yeah.
All right. So 17 and 7 are usually kind of like your numbers that you rock. Is there
Yeah.
any
Yes.
meaning behind that? And, yeah.
Well, when I graduated college, I was number 12.
Okay.
Okay, so
That's right,
I
yeah.
was like, all right, I kind of want to move out of my college phase. I want to go, and like so boneheadedly, the GM or the equipment manager in Houston, like, what number you want? I'm like 14, and they're like, no, you can't have that number.
Jordan.
Like,
You can't get Jordan.
you can't get that number. And I'm like, okay, like, and I was just like, all right,
You was
well,
coming for heads, huh?
Yeah.
Like, no, I want 14.
I was like
Let me
17,
get
but
that
not
Cynthia.
even thinking like at all. I just said that number because it's like I was in high school. I was number 10 for a bit of time, you know,
Okay.
and I added 2 when I was in college. Now I was like, okay, I'm gonna be 14, and they were like, no, and I'm like, okay. I didn't even think about it until like weeks later after, I'm like, okay, that's why. But happy belated birthday to Cynthia Cooper.
Absolutely cool.
Had an opportunity to meet her and everything. So yeah, they were like, no. And then I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go with 17 because Tina had 7, so I was like,
Yeah.
okay. But 17. 7 is the number of completion.
Yep.
And
Biblical number.
There you go.
There it is.
a biblical number. And excuse me, I just I like the numbers. My dad's favorite
There it is.
number, and I put a little spin on it by adding a 17.
I like it.
Unusual number.
Okay.
When was your first
I
dunk?
love it. A lot of people like to say it was in high school. I personally disagree with this. Like, I don't remember it actually going down, but people were like, I think they were so shocked at the attempt that they just made up what they wanted to.
Because I
They're
went
like,
for it.
I can't believe she tried that in a game, like a real hooper.
On a break, you can't.
Yeah, fast break. Yeah. And I would just do it. I don't even know. I'm like, okay, I'm on a fast break. I'm just jump real high for the layup and then see what happens. And a couple of times I just tried it. I don't remember going in, but people swear up and down. They tell me like I'm lying when I say I didn't dunk in high school. But I just mostly over the summer playing pickup.
Yeah.
With guys. Some in warm ups a couple times overseas, but
catching oops or
oops for the most part. Yeah, my hands aren't that big, so I have a problem with
jumping
on the bar. But I'm also a 2-foot jumper, so it's kind of easier to go with 2 hands.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway,
especially if you're going for 2 feet.
Yeah.
Doing the Zion.
Man, I always was like, man, if I was like, cause I'm listed at like 6'1", more around like 6 foot. And I was just like, if I was 6'1.5" for real, I really
you
be
disrespecting people,
yeah,
right?
I'd be out there doing some crazy stuff.
Okay, so we have a resident shoe head over here.
Okay.
Growing up, did you have the Air swooshes?
I had the
swoops. Excuse me, Air swoops. Excuse me.
Swoops. I had the second
iteration
her second
of it.
release.
Okay.
The ones with the vine. I actually wore those in my. You know how you have the prop pictures when you're seeing your pictures, like where you wear your regular clothes.
And then you got your basketball, your sports clothes on.
Yeah, I had those on. Didn't really play in them much, but I actually just copped those. The Jordans, the women's Jordans.
Oh, the retros that Maya that they did for Maya, or the which ones?
No, they're just a pro, like the first Air Jordan that was designed for women. I always wanted those. But yeah, I had one pair of swoops.
There you go.
Yeah,
they had some for Maya though. Maya designed some the retro 10s where she kind of I think the colors and she put her favorite Bible verse on it.
Yep.
So those were dope. Yep. So why?
I need to plug on the J's, by the way. I see you got the whole number line. So
right.
We'll get that off camera.
between you and Darren, man, with the shoes, we got to get these orders fulfilled.
Yeah, I gotta get my game a little bit.
But why do you think women don't have shoes? And like, because the WNBA is just doing great, right? They continue to build, they continue to grow. Yeah. They're showing, getting the respect from the fellas. What do you think it will take for the women to have their own shoe? Because like they haven't had a shoe other than, like you said, where they were like designed for a woman or something like that, but just a named shoe.
I think that, well, one, I mean, they just really, really enjoy playing in the men's shoe. Like they're super like comfortable. Like you get one that's catchy and like the Kobe's were and Kyrie's, and they look really nice. So I don't think any other players are super pressed
about it
to make them. But they have some signature. I think Della Don just got a signature Nike that's it's not named after her, but it's her shoe. Like it doesn't have her name on it, but it was designed for her.
Got you.
So whatever it's like hyper, I don't even know the name, but whatever it is, she is wearing it. But they have, some Jordans designed specifically for Maya, and I think it's about just like a family of the whatever brand.
Okay.
But I think at some point, it could happen. Like I really think it would have happened for Maya. You know,
Mm-hmm.
She's out there fighting
yeah, just
justice over
doing
there,
something.
boy.
Yeah, she's doing her thing.
Is she back playing or
she was
I
still
know she
sitting
took
out.
the year.
Yeah,
took
she's
the-
sitting out.
She's still sitting out.
She's
Yeah.
still sitting out.
Yeah, defending the world,
Yeah.
righting all the wrongs.
Yeah.
That's
Speaking of
crazy.
Della Don, I saw that Tina Charles got traded over there today.
Oh, was it? Oh, today?
Yeah, to the Mystics. That's a good pickup for them. But that's a whole different story.
That was a tough playoff series around here, boy.
That was a different story.
All right, so overseas, what was your favorite team to play for? And like, it can go from the environment, the culture, just kind of the overall experience. Yeah.
It's a close, very, very close between this past season in Israel.
Uh-huh.
I played for Hapoel Rishon, and in about 2013, I played Euro Cup for a team in Slovakia, Ružomberok, and we went to the Final Four of the Euro Cup.
Okay.
And so we were traveling and playing, and we were an underdog team, and we made it really far.
Uh-huh.
And then that year as well, in 2013, we ended up taking a EuroLeague final team to Game 5 of the Slovakian league. So Košice, we played them really close. We hadn't, like, the team hadn't beat them in, like, I don't know, 12 years or something like that. Not even once. Like, one regular season game, a playoff game, and we beat them twice. And we're taking them to Game 5. We beat them twice at home. They beat us at their place, and they ended up beating us out at home. But the atmosphere there, it was a small little town, Eastern Europe, nothing to do in the entire city. Like, I literally would just go to practice at home, to the gym to shoot extra, back home, like to the grocery store, back home. Like, there was nothing to do. We would get out a little bit. I think I traveled to some spots in
the city or just around
Bratislava like once. And it was cold and snowing and just icky. But we were out there hooping. I played with Courtney Vandersloot that year, and Nadia Parker, she played. And we was just not expected to do much, you know. And it was like an amazing. The crowd would come out. The whole village, the little village we was in, was packed every night. No matter who was playing, we were beating teams. Because the league was really top heavy. So us two teams were the teams.
Okay.
And then there was a third team. They were okay. But everybody else was pretty garbo. And we would beat them by like 60 points because they didn't have nobody.
Okay.
And when the game would come. But it would still be packed. And it's like, why y'all come here to see us blow the teams out? But they had nothing else to do like us. So it was the best thing going on.
Right.
But we went really far in league and then in Euro Cup, obviously playing.
So did you have?
So that was the most fun, like game time. It was like
that environment,
lit every game. Yeah,
because you don't expect that when you go over there.
Nah.
That's dope.
That is dope. I saw that you are an outdoorsy person.
Yeah, fishing.
Fishing. When you said fishing, I was like, "Where are you? Where's she fishing out here?"
That's the same thing. Yeah. I was going to ask the same thing.
So, where overseas? What was the spot that obviously that maybe somebody doesn't know that you thought was really dope? Kind of outdoor stuff.
Outdoors. There's so many places.
Where in Turkey were you, by the way?
Genik, Samsung. So it's up north.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, all the places. I was in Italy. I was in Greece, Spain. Like,
that's crazy. How was
Israel
Africa?
nice.
How was Africa? Africa was like, I'm on this Africa kick right now. Yeah.
Liberating.
Oh, see, and everybody I say. So I got some homeboys in
Angola.
Coach Rayford. Well, Rayford. Just Rayford. A couple of my friends just came back from, they went to Africa last year. Everybody I talked to, they just say, oh,
it was amazing.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, every place had its perks. You know, I didn't necessarily have time to like go hiking or fishing or do anything like outdoorsy too much like that. Besides, like, go to the beach, whatever. But every place I found something to do outside. So, yeah.
So,
that's resourceful.
Where do you fish here? Do you fish here?
Like me, when we could. I mean, but now, you know,
right? Yeah,
COVID's taking over everybody's life. So
yeah, I saw that. I was like, where is she fishing at?
Yeah,
like me.
Where did you we go up to
Utah?
Utah.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Okay. Me and my dad.
Okay. Is it just relaxing, or where did it come from? Because like Jared Jeffries is a big fisher, NBA dude. He like, I think his handle's like I go fish or some shit like that.
Wow.
Yeah. But How did you get into
I
it?
just my dad.
Dad? Okay.
Yeah, he's from Louisiana in the
Oh,
sticks,
well,
Sticks,
yeah.
right?
Winsboro,
he
Louisiana.
over there noodling and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so, he moved here in the 70s, whatever, and he just, found out it was a lake
From out
here,
there.
and we go to the state park sometimes, but he would always take me when I was a kid. I
Okay.
mean, I was on the lake when I was 2 for the first time.
Wow.
So, getting out there and we're shore fishermen, so I mean, I like to swim, but, he's like, just it's not our thing to get on the boat, but
All right, so we want to kind of get into the platform in the winner's circle and just talk about what you're doing out there. So I want to start with I kind of let off in the intro, but you're a Select Academy.
Yeah.
Talk about that. What was behind it, and like is it a club? Is it AAU? Just tell us all about it. And I think you have like 3 fundamentals or 3 pillars you base it
yeah.
around.
So I have been doing camps and clinics for like 7-8 years, and I was home early. I was playing in Africa. The season had ended. I came home in like February, so it was right time for playoffs and high school basketball. And I was like, I'm gonna go to my high school. I would try to, when I was home for like Christmas or whatever, go and visit the high school team and talk
Right.
to the team or whatever. But I went to one of the games of some of the kids that I know from the neighborhood, and they were like, "Come to our game or whatever."
Right.
Or I went to see Centennial play Gorman or something like that, and or Spring Valley at one point, team that some of the kids I knew played on, and it was just like they needed so many things. Like I was just like, they're lacking a lot,
Yeah.
Just fundamentals wise.
fundamental wise,
okay.
IQ wise, and I was like, I want to coach. Like I want to give back. I want to have my own, you know, program. But I also was looking, I like Team CP3 and Team Mello and
Yeah.
these teams at me coming up, like watching, how they played for certain, NBA playing teams, and
Right.
there wasn't a lot of WNBA players who had their own organization. So I was like, I want to start something. But my deal was I wanted to coach as well. So
Okay.
that's how I got into it. Because I was already training here and there, like working out with some kids, or we would work out together with my trainer, and I would just learn how to like really, handle that. So I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I got with a couple of my, close friends that I played AAU with, and some that I know coached, and some even that I coached when I was younger. And I was like, y'all want to coach or have any interest in,
Right.
youth player development?
Mm-hmm.
Then let's do this. And we started, and we hadn't stopped since.
Wow.
How different is the AAU game from when you played to kind of what it is now?
Well, I would say it's night and day.
Mhm.
When I played, we didn't have social media. We didn't have all these platforms to self-market.
Mhm.
I would say the players, are definitely far more skilled than we were. Skill set wise, like they could do drills that we probably couldn't do.
Those
but
drills weren't
our-
even around, right? Like,
dribbling with I don't know. I'm not even gonna get into all the crazy
Chris
videos
drills,
that people
yeah.
be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
But we definitely were brought up in a tougher era. We had to earn things no matter who you were.
Right.
Mhm.
Even if you were the best player, you never were treated. I mean, you got treated special, but it was like the worst player would challenge you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's just like really, really top heavy. Those that are really, really good are really, really good. There's no
No middle.
middle.
Mm.
That's
There was
interesting.
always
Yeah.
room for that guy. The guy at the top had to be better because that guy in the middle was coming for that spot because he was working. Now
Mhm.
these guys in the middle are like, well, I'm in the middle, I'm not top, so it's like I'm just gonna always stay in the middle.
Hmm.
And there was always somebody chasing you, so you
Sure.
had to be on top of it. And it's like not really very many kids are chasing
Mm.
anymore.
That's interesting. Do you think, because you were a 3-sport athlete, I know a
Mhm.
lot of kids now kind of specialize. Do you
Yeah.
think that has something to do with it, or?
Yeah, I do.
And specialized
us-
early too, right?
Yeah.
It's specialized. They want to focus in, and
And you
I
think
just
that's good or good and bad, or?
I think I'm indifferent on it.
Okay.
Especially when you are good enough to focus in on that. And
That's
it's
a good
like,
point.
this kid is going to be a pro, so why not
Mhm.
get to, because it's really about the bag. So you want to secure that, and you want
Touche.
to not even, jeopardize that by any form.
All right.
Because it's about taking care of your family and doing what you need to do to be a millionaire
Yeah.
at this point. But for me and our generation, it was just being physical.
Okay.
It was about pride.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, you better than me at this, but I'm better than you at this, and I know
See
that I
that long
can play.
jump.
Right.
I can play this.
Yeah.
You know, I do this.
I'm gonna get my
So,
lick in.
yeah, it was
That's a good point.
always a competition.
That's a good
Always a
point.
competition. And it wasn't so much about the business at all. It was just about
The game.
the competition, about the game, about being physical, about learning other things. Like a lot of football players sprinted because they wanted to be faster.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, a lot of basketball players play volleyball because they wanted to jump higher.
Yeah.
You know, play soccer because they wanted to have better endurance.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. So
That's interesting.
for me, I really,
That's right.
but I was talking about this with one of my good friends the other night. And it's like, you know, when we were kids, we did physical things. Like
Mhm.
we went outside and
Was
we
outside.
played. We played outside. We jumped off things. We hurt ourselves, and we just got up and kept on playing like
Yeah.
it was nothing. And
Because you couldn't go home.
Yeah, we
you
were
had to walk it off.
You can't come home. You can't come home hurt. If you
Right.
come home hurt, you're gonna get a whooping. Like,
Or you gotta
like
stay
you
inside.
hurt, you broke your leg, you're gonna
Yeah.
get whooped.
and you gotta stay inside. So
Right.
it's like
So it's like, nah, I'm gonna walk this off and figure it out how
Yeah.
to toughen up.
put some tussin on it.
Yeah. But you know, we walked places, we rode bikes,
Yeah,
we did
all
things
over.
like that, and
That's
we were
true.
just kind of, and this is a little bit off subject, talking about how it is kind of a direct indicator of injury right now.
Mhm.
Like, you know, our best, and me and my trainer were talking about it. Shout out to Train with Dane about how, you know, you go and your first gift is a bike.
Mm-hmm.
There's kids that don't know how to ride a bike. Like the bike was the gift. Like I'm getting
That's
a
how
bike.
you're gonna move. Yeah.
Like I'm getting a bike and I'm going to be able to do everything
Yeah.
faster than I was when I was walking.
Man,
Like,
we
I can
cross
get everywhere.
town.
Everywhere. I can do everything. Oh, I'm supposed to go to the gym. I ain't got to ask for a ride. I'm there.
Right.
But, you know, we didn't
That's
have
funny.
as many ACL
That's true.
and all of these types of injuries because we rode a bike. And that's literally the first thing you do when you go to rehab.
It's
Just ride a
is
bike.
ride a bike. You
That's
know?
the first activity you can do to
You
kind of
can,
recover.
like, get
right?
on a bike. You get on a bike, and the bike saved our lives. But honestly, we probably were injured. We probably had some kind of meniscus and concussions for sure.
Right.
And we just was like, you
I'm
you can't
walking
go- I
off.
can't you were thinking, I can't go back outside. I can't go back outside, so I can't be hurt right now.
Oh, that's
You know?
awesome.
So,
No, that's funny that you say that because I think we go for a graduation class.
mhm.
Yeah, so we grew up in the same era. So I remember going to class musty because I had the hoop shorts underneath the jeans. So like it was just different.
Yeah,
it was
it
just
was
different. And I could never play baseball. I couldn't hit the ball, but I was
Uh-huh.
like, it's cool when football season comes.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But
on,
you
to
would
the
still
point.
get out there and do it though.
Oh,
Because of the pride thing. It's like I'm not too scared to try at least because I might be good.
Right.
Yeah.
But these kids are like, I might not be good, so forget that. I know that I'm good at this, so this is what
And
I'm
even
gonna
if you're
do.
terrible, you still went out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
That's
it don't
where your
matter.
friends were though
Yeah.
too. And that was the whole thing. We had a different connection too.
Especially it's like it don't matter if I absolutely suck at this.
Right.
I'm out
I'm
there.
so much better. Like that's like the football. No offense, but that's the football thing with basketball. Like so many
here we
football
go.
players are bad at basketball.
Oh,
Here we go with that.
Yeah.
So, tech 1 2 1 2. We good?
All right.
So, you got him upset.
You got me on
Yeah.
that football.
Well,
basketball
it's not
thing.
even. It's just like football players are like the best defenders on the court and rebounders.
I'm locking down anybody.
100%.
And I'm giving my
100%.
I'm fouling.
And I get that, but those 5 fouls are like for sure gonna be made.
Absolutely.
And it's like you're not hand checking. You're stiff arming. Like you
Yeah,
I'm grabbing
right.
too if I have to.
grabbing,
You're right.
you know.
No,
And it's like
true.
y'all are athletic,
Yes.
and that's it. Hella
Ooh.
rebounds, hella
I-
rebounds.
Absolutely.
No shots.
Dennis
you shooting off
Rodman.
of the basket.
I don't think I shot a jump shot in high school.
Dennis Rodman. I'm on the board.
I didn't feel like I was playing unless I had a floor burn.
Hey, tip champion.
If somebody's taking a charge, I'm gonna make them feel it. I'm,
like
not, I'm
best-
not gonna try to go around them.
I'm running you over. Right,
right through
You're
you.
right. You're right.
right. Setting hella screens, best screens ever.
Best
Boom.
screen.
It's
Absolutely.
I still said
It's like,
screens.
you know.
Hey, come here,
Hey,
get
come
this. Come
through.
get this. Yeah.
Come through this. Got to set up. Got to set up.
Like the best.
Move. No, I got the screen.
But it was like, you know, I'm gonna do what I could do.
Yeah.
You know, out
Sure.
here.
For sure.
So that's just like, now you also do camps. So what's difference, or what's the kind of motive from you wanting to coach and make sure the kids had the essentials, because you were just seeing that was a lack, and then scratch that itch of wanting to coach. What's the difference between what you do with your club and then these camps that you were running, or that you have ran?
I think the camps are open to all kids,
Okay.
who are beginners, maybe interested. We have some sessions that are just for kids that are curious about basketball, like I want to play. I think some of the elite camps or whatever age group that I do, it's specific to a certain class of kids. So it's like an elite section that's like, okay, for serious basketball players, and we might have some intermediate who are probably like middle schoolers who just started playing but kind of know what they're doing, know the rules and stuff
Right.
like that. I hadn't really gotten into little kids. I did have a 11U team that was so cute this year. I had a middle school team, and then I had 2 high schools, like a sophomore team, and then I had a senior team. So I had 4 teams last year, which was a lot, but I
I'm about to
learned a
say,
lot
yeah.
about how I can coach. And then, camps are just, you don't get better at camp. You go there to learn something and to apply it when you practice. You can't get better in 3 days. You can't. You can learn something to start to add to your game, to
Not in
develop.
general pop, not with that large with a large group of people,
Yeah,
right?
you can't. It's not enough time to get better, because you have to practice something over and over and over.
Repetitively.
Like repetition is everything. But I just wanted to do that to, you know, show, that I was accessible to the community. You can come and just pick my brain. You can
Right.
come and hang out, and we can do other things. But there was a lot of things like leadership things that I would add into those camps, like
Okay.
having the kids, learn about themselves and how they work with others, and I would have people come in and talk about clearinghouse or nutrition
Good
or
stuff.
injury prevention and stuff like that. So the camp is more rounded towards just sport in general.
Holistically, it's not
So, yeah,
just a skill, it's
yeah,
life, progression, the
yeah,
whole thing. Let's go.
definitely.
So how do people get involved with it? Like, what's the age range, excuse me?
Well, this year just I'm gonna have the smaller team. Well, hopefully, 11 U is where I started.
Okay.
But even younger than that, if you have a kid that's 8-year-old but can play, then they just play up. Like that's how
Yeah.
I've run the program.
Mhm.
If you're an 8th
Sure.
grader, you probably may not get much playing time on the senior team or on the top team, but you'll come to practice
There you go.
and you'll take that practice,
And
those
apply it
habits,
somewhere,
and
right?
go back and kill whatever 8th graders or whatever you playing against.
Mhm.
But I think I just kind of go by skill
I feel it.
and passion, desire to want to be
So does
there.
everyone make the team?
No.
Or no? So
No.
they have, is
I
it like
usually
tryouts, or how do they?
pick this year. I planned on having a tryout, like
Okay.
a little bit of a different dynamic than what I had in the past, because I usually would handpick the kids.
Mm.
Most of the kids come from my area, where I grew up, North Las Vegas, West
Mhm.
Las
Yeah.
Vegas, because
So-
I felt a real need in that
need,
area
yeah, for
for
sure.
a organization that can cater to them. That could be cost effective, and they still get the type of skill
Yo. Yep.
Nice.
that they need. So whenever I do have a tryout or a camp, I just post it on my social
Okay.
medias, and I tell I come on stations and stuff, just talk about it
And let us know, definitely,
for
because
sure.
we want to definitely promote and push that. That's
I
kind of,
will.
that's
I
why
will
we
for sure.
here.
Hopefully, we can get out of the situation that
For
we're
sure.
in,
Yeah,
and we
that
can
part.
start opening up the gyms. But even if not, last year we did our preseason. Um, so about end of March, April, with my kids,
Mhm.
we did it outside on the football field,
Really?
on the
Okay.
track.
I saw that.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. We're gonna
That work
get
in.
We're gonna
it.
get
We're
it
gonna
out there.
get in shape.
Get that,
At
get that
least.
work in.
Yeah.
So I saw on your website, select your own path.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is that the quote that you kind of live by there?
I mean, because you choose how your life is gonna be,
For
no
sure.
matter what comes at you. And
Mhm.
I think it just kind of embodies what you know the path that I had to take. Um, it I made it what I wanted it to be.
Mhm.
And it's all about perspective. Your perspective is
Mhm.
what matters, not what people or you know writers or the people who do the rankings,
Right.
and tell you that, you're not number one or whatever. You just make it what you want it to be. And, I've been, so many doors have been shut to my face, and I just keep on
Persevering, going through it,
persevering,
right?
moving to the next one. So
Nice.
I've created the lane that I want to be in, and that's what,
That's
it's
deep.
my path. It's not really about the next person's journey.
Yep.
Because I could easily look at, another player and say, well, why didn't I get that same opportunity? I'm better.
Yeah.
I'm flat out better,
Mhm.
but I didn't get that path, and I could cry about it and be upset. But you gotta take what you get.
That's real important, especially because you mentioned it early how social media is kind of prevalent now, and you can kind of look at what everybody else is doing and lose track of your own path.
Yeah.
So that's important for the players that you coach and everything.
Yeah, because I just feel like, my journey and my path is set for me. That person who I'm looking at probably wouldn't make it on my path. And I probably the same wouldn't make it on
their
theirs.
path. Yeah.
It
Nice.
would probably be totally different for me if I had been a number one pick. Like, I probably have some other kind of issue versus just running into closed doors.
Yeah.
So I really think it's important that you know where you're going. Like, you have the end goal, and it may be the same as someone else. Like,
Right.
the goal is the same,
Mhm.
but you have different
paths to get there.
paths to get there.
Yeah, my pops always say you turn 35 at the same time. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
Then one thing, your blogs are dope. By the way, I saw the impact that we have as a black athlete.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
And I gotta get back into blogging. I
that's dope. They're
haven't
dope.
done
They're really dope.
anything in a while. Get back to writing, but it was something I just started to do. Like, I hadn't ever written before.
Okay.
So except in school, and that was years ago. So just I feel like being a black athlete comes at times with a label. You guys talk about it here. We're not gonna shut up and dribble. And we allow us as a black culture, an athlete, we allow people to put us in a box.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you do, this is who you are, this is how you play, and that's it. Like, and we just can do so much more.
Right.
Especially with this as a vehicle. So a lot of people take that, that that stereotype or whatever, that box, and they look at it as a negative thing all
Right.
the time. Okay, I'm not gonna let you put me in the box, but I'm definitely gonna use this box to get use this vehicle to get where I want to be, and so that I can show you or show myself or show whomever, like, there's other avenues or there's other things that I can do. I'm using this platform because you may feel like it's the only platform,
right?
but I'm gonna
Right.
use
Use
it
it.
to show that there's other things out there.
So
Awesome.
that's real.
Well, getting to wrapping it up here. Last kind of portion we like to call is the assist, and I think Miles jumped on it earlier, but it's where you kind of drop a dime or just a gem or just kind of like a life lesson or quote that you live by that you want to kind of share with the people.
If you always do what you always done, you will always get what you always got.
Steve. I like it.
That's
For
one of
sure.
the, if you never try anything different, you always gonna get the same results.
Yeah.
And you gotta learn to step out that box. And I think everybody needs to understand their power. Never give your power away. Understand that you are powerful. And myself, I've been learning, like, how much influence I have. Over this last year, and I talked to my teammates about it. It's like, you never really know how impactful you are until someone else says it. You kind of try to downplay it, and I've had people tell me, like, no, like, you are somebody that people look up to, and I've had to try to. I mean, I always knew that kids, look up to me, like, you
Right.
play pro, you're good, like, we can't ever beat you, type of thing when we hoop. But it's like, my peers are looking at, watching me,
That's
and seeing
awesome.
how I do things and how I move around, and I've begun to, like, really take a great responsibility in knowing the power that I have and not letting myself or anybody shade that. It's like, use it and be a light to whomever, and then we we can create the narrative.
100%.
We can, because we're so infectious, and that's just
That's
That's
real.
just it.
Gems.
It's like that blog is dope. I read it.
Oh.
I mean, you touched on the NCAA stuff on the blog too, but I mean, we have to have you back to
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah, you don't
So
know. You don't know Kristen.
I'm kind of on the other side of the fence a little bit, but I
Little
want
bit.
to hear your perspective on it.
Yeah,
too.
he's on the wrong side of the fence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, there's two sides for a reason.
Somebody got to be over there.
Correct.
All right.
There you go. Oh man, so much, man. What a great episode. We definitely want to thank you again. Time just flies when you're having fun, I guess.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I had a blast. And I definitely want to come back. I mean, I know there's so much more that we can talk about.
Oh, trust me, because we want to hit you with some things. There's some stuff that we were like, oh yeah, let's ask this, let's ask this.
Yep.
So definitely want to have you back. Always, well, one, you are a great supporter of the show. Thank you. Especially during
Appreciate
like
it.
Black History. You're reposting and posting our stuff in Women's History Month, and like you're really tapping in. So
I just love that you guys represent, what we're all doing and what we're trying to bring attention to. And no matter the scale, that deserves, recognition.
100%.
We're gonna get it. Well, hey, thanks everybody for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on all platforms, Black in Sports, YouTube, Twitter, IG, all that good stuff. We're on every podcast platform, so follow us there, search for us, and just know that we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap.